Listen up, Bears fanatics. We've got 3 bombshell stories you can't miss, and each one could shake up our team's future. First, the scoop of the day. Can you believe our GM Ryan Poles might be thinking about bailing? That's right. He could be eyeing the exit at Halas Hall. In the middle of a 7-game losing streak, the heat is on. Poles, who's already lived through the worst losing streak in team history, might be at his breaking point. What does this mean for the Bears' future? Stay tuned. Now, talking potential signings, how would you feel about snagging a defensive breakout star from the Detroit Lions? This player's been crushing it this season and could be the missing piece in our D picture, a 2-year, $9 million deal and the impact it could have. And get this, what if we brought over a bunch of Lions coaches to overhaul our team? This could be a real game changer. Finally, with the season in the tank, don't you think it's time to give Kieran Amaji a shot as a starter? This rookie's got a lot to prove and could be the key to breathing new life into our O-line. With 4 games left, it's the perfect time to see what he's got. Could Amaji be the piece we need for next year? Don't miss these crucial developments. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Bears news. All right, folks, we've got news that's shaking things up at Halas Hall. Could Ryan Poles, our team's GM, be thinking about throwing in the towel? You heard that right. And let me tell you, things couldn't be more tense. We're smack in the middle of a 7-game losing streak, just 1 away from tying the 2nd worst in franchise history. Can you believe it? Poles could end up being the mastermind behind the 2 worst losing streaks in Bears history. We already suffered through 14 straight losses between 2022 and 2023, and now we're on the brink of doing it again. That's why they canned head coach Matt Eberflus mid-season. Everyone thought Poles would stick around to hire the next coach, but that possibility is looking less likely by the minute. Mark Silverman spilled the beans on Waddle and Sylvie that there's a ton of frustration brewing inside Halas Hall. And guess what? Some of that heat is aimed straight at Poles. He picked the last coach and has put together a team that hasn't shown any real progress towards being a winner. But do you think Poles is happy? No way. When he came on board in 2022, he took the job thinking he'd have a direct line to ownership. But that changed almost immediately when they brought in team president Kevin Warren. Now, Poles feels like he's being pushed to the sidelines. That's why Silverman thinks it's possible the GM might be considering jumping ship after the season. And I'm asking you, is it hard to imagine Ryan Poles walking away? I don't think so. Even though a Twitter account called Searstower, which has been spot on about Bears info lately, says this rumor is bogus, the warning signs are there. Poles looked beat down in his last press conference, and there are more and more hints that Warren is taking control behind closed doors. Brad Biggs from the Chicago Tribune reported that the president will be running the show for the next coach search. Plus, Poles inked a 4-year deal in 2022. That means 2025 would be his last season. Unless the Bears are planning to give him an extension, which hasn't happened yet, the idea of him choosing to bounce isn't crazy. It would let him get out of a situation where he's not happy, while the Bears could line up both the coach and GM for the first time in almost a decade. The last 4 games could determine how this all plays out. Now, I'm asking you, do you think Ryan Poles leaving would be good for the Bears? Or do you think he should stick it out and try to turn things around? Let me know what you think in the comments. What would you say if I told you we might sign one of the Detroit Lions' defensive breakout stars? Yeah, I'm talking about Levi Onwuzurike. After 3 disappointing years to start his career, Onwuzurike has stepped up big time in 2024. This Lions D lineman, who was a 2nd-round pick, has been killing it this season. With more playing time, he's racked up career highs with 1.5 sacks and 29 pressures in 12 games. He looks like a completely different player in his 4th NFL season. And let me tell you, his rise couldn't have come at a better time, as Onwuzurike is in the final year of his $8.1 million rookie contract. Even though he's dealing with an injury right now, it's not serious. And if he can come back healthy and finish the season strong, he could be in for a nice payday in 2025. Jacob Infante from Windy City Gridiron suggested in a recent article that the Bears should sign Onwuzurike to a 2-year, $9 million deal in 2025 free agency. But that's not all. Infante also wants to see Chicago sign receiver Tim Patrick and cornerback Emmanuel Mosley. Onwuzurike, Patrick and Mosley are 3 players who would come over from Detroit to make the jump with their current coaches and serve as rotational players in their respective areas. Infante wrote. Onwuzurike not only has skills as a pass rusher, but he also offers inside-outside versatility, which could help beef up a Bears run defense that's currently ranked 26th. And it doesn't stop there. Infante suggests the Bears should go all in and hire Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson as head coach, offensive line coach Hank Fraley as offensive coordinator, and defensive line coach Terrell Williams as defensive coordinator. Can you imagine the impact of bringing in these coaches and players from a rival team that's had so much success in recent years? It would be a masterstroke. Although the Lions will probably want to keep on Onwuzurike, price will be a crucial factor, as Detroit already has a lot invested in their D-line and still needs to sign Aiden Hutchinson to an extension. Plus, Onwuzurike might be looking for a starting spot, something the Lions can't offer because Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader are under contract for 2025. Knowing all this, it's very possible that Onwuzurike will be playing for another team in 2025, and the Bears are definitely a viable option. Now I'm asking you, do you think signing Levi Onwuzurike and bringing in these Lions coaches could be the key to turning the Bears into contenders? Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm asking you, don't you think it's about time we give Kieran Amaji a shot as a starter? I'm telling you, now's the perfect time to do it. It's really frustrating that with 4 games left in the 2024 regular season, the Bears are already officially out of the playoff race. This year was always going to be an uphill battle with a rookie quarterback, albeit a very good one, a brutal division, and a coaching disadvantage within the division. However, it wasn't unreasonable to expect to be in the hunt graphic until week 17 or 18. But that's the situation we're in. 4 games left and no postseason to compete for. Sure, Chicago can still play spoiler for their division rivals, as well as the Seahawks, but obviously winning those games doesn't have the same flavor. While there are many problems we can blame for this failed campaign, most of us would point to the offensive line first. Despite a small resurgence of consistency mid-season, Coleman Shelton has been a bust. Matt Pryor is a decent depth option, but he shouldn't be starting a whole season. Tevin Jenkins has been fine when healthy, but always seems to have something pending. Braxton Jones is a slightly above-average left tackle option, but nothing more. Darnell Wright is probably the only member of the group we can look at with certainty and say he's a long-term piece. That's why it's time to do something a little different on the line. Now that he's back and healthy, it's time for Kieran Amaji to be inserted into the starting lineup. Whether as a tackle or guard, Chicago needs to find out what they have in the local product they invested a 3rd-round pick in. Kieran Amaji was in a tough spot at the start of the year. He suffered a quad injury in his final season at Yale that cost him a good chunk of that season. Then he was on the non-football injury list at the start of training camp before finally joining the team in late August. Though he was a good prospect, Amaji was raw entering the NFL and needed development, so missing almost all of camp already had him at a disadvantage. Apart from a few minutes of garbage time, he finally got his first real action in the game against the Commanders after Braxton Jones got hurt. While the tape had its ups and downs for a raw 3rd-round pick who was thrown into the left tackle spot mid-game, he held his own and showed some good things. Again, far from perfect, but enough to show some promise. Unfortunately, Amaji suffered a calf injury in the same game that kept him out for several weeks. Now that we know where this season is headed, it's time for the Bears to let the rookie loose and see what they have in him. This offensive line needs a major overhaul in the offseason. We all know it. Matt Pryor won't be part of the starting group next season. Braxton Jones will be entering the final year of his contract. Tevin Jenkins needs a new contract. There's no reason not to give Kieran Amaji some starting opportunities to see what they have in him for next year. I'm not suggesting he'll come out and win a starting spot as a guard or tackle in 2025 in 4 games, but I am suggesting he can prove to be a piece of the puzzle and one who can play multiple positions on the line. I hate that we're already at the point in the season where we're talking about seeing what we have in players for next year, but it's the reality of the situation. Starting Matt Pryor for 4 more games accomplishes nothing. Maintaining the status quo accomplishes nothing. Give Kieran Amaji as many reps as possible the rest of the way and start figuring out what you have in him. He has a lot to prove, so let him start now. Can he stay healthy? Can he compete with his NFC North opponents? Is he ready? And if not, how close is he? They might not get a complete answer to these questions, but at least they'll get some clues. And now, I'm asking you, Do you think Kieran Amaji could be the key to revitalizing our offensive line? Is it time to give him a chance to prove his worth? Let me know what you think in the comments. Go Bears! Now, I'm asking you, do you think Ryan Poles leaving would be good for the Bears? Or do you think he should stick it out and try to turn things around? What do you think about his management so far? Also, do you think signing Levi Onwuzurike and bringing in these Lions coaches could be the key to turning the Bears into contenders? How do you see these moves shaping the team's future? Lastly, do you think Kieran Amaji could be the key to revitalizing our offensive line? Is it time to give him a chance to prove his worth? What do you think about his potential impact on the team? If you're all about discussing and analyzing every Bears move, this is your channel. Join our fan family and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any updates. Be part of this community and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Subscribe now and join us on this exciting journey with the Chicago Bears. Until next time.